Are you prepared to find out what waits beyond reality? It's time to plunge into the abyss from which there is no return. In the silence broken only by your own heartbeat, darkness and horrors capable of shocking even the bravest lie in wait. Are you ready to face what hides in the shadows? What dark force pierces the silence? And what happens when every rustle becomes a cry of despair? Can you withstand the intense fear that becomes palpable and overwhelming? What if something around the corner can shatter your reality? In this world, every step brings you closer to the unknown horror, and every breath is a harbinger of unimaginable evil. Hold on tight and don't look away. The darkness will consume you.
Max stood at the entrance of the school, his seasoned eyes scanning the surroundings. By day, the building appeared ordinary enough. Students laughed and chatted as they rushed through the halls, their backpacks bouncing with each step. Teachers moved about, engaging in discussions that seemed mundane. The sun cast a warm glow over the brick facade, and the sounds of youth filled the air, creating an ambiance of normalcy. Yet beneath this facade, an unsettling tension lingered. There was an unease that clung to the walls, an unspoken fear that danced in the shadows of the bustling corridors. Whispers among the students hinted at strange occurrences. Some claimed to have seen fleeting figures in the corners of their eyes, while others spoke of cold drafts that swept through the classrooms, even on the warmest of days. The staff, too, felt it. A chill that crept up their spines as they turned the lights off after hours, making sure not to linger too long in the darkened hallways. Max knew of the history that lay beneath the polished surface of this institution. It was built upon the ancient grounds of pagan rituals, where dark forces once thrived. The land held secrets, remnants of a time long forgotten, but not completely erased. The very soil seemed to pulse with a sinister energy, and the air carried a weight that hinted at the horrors that awaited after sunset. As the day faded and the sun dipped below the horizon, the school transformed. The cheerful laughter of students was replaced by an eerie silence. The bell that rang to signify the end of the school day was not just a signal for students to leave. It was a harbinger of dread. Max felt the weight of his mission pressing down on him. He was here to confront the darkness that had awakened, a darkness that threatened not just the school, but the world beyond its walls. As the sun vanished behind the distant hills, the sky turned a deep shade of indigo, and shadows stretched ominously across the school grounds. The air thickened with an unsettling chill as the final rays of light retreated. It was then that the bell tolled for the first time. Its sound echoed through the corridors like a death knell, reverberating against the walls and sending shivers down the spines of those still inside. The bell was not just a signal for day's end. It was a sinister call to the forces lurking just beyond the veil of reality. With each toll, the school began to transform. The once vibrant classrooms now appeared dim and foreboding. The cheerful posters on the walls faded into indistinct shapes, their colors drained by an unseen hand. Desks that had been filled with laughter and learning became stark reminders of the innocence lost as darkness descended. Windows rattled as a cold wind swept through the hallways, carrying with it whispers of ancient incantations and the lingering essence of malevolence. The transformation was not just physical. A palpable energy surged through the air, thick with anticipation and dread. Students huddled together in small groups, eyes wide with confusion as the first sounds of movement echoed from the shadows. The faint scuttling of claws on the floor sent hearts racing and minds spiraling into panic. They had heard the legends, the tales of the bell, and the creatures it summoned. As the final toll faded into silence, a heavy stillness enveloped the school. The portal had opened with the last reverberation, a gaping maw between worlds. The creatures began to emerge, their forms twisted and grotesque, eyes glowing with malicious intent. They slithered and crawled, lurking just beyond the corners of the students' vision, waiting for the moment of vulnerability to strike. The once safe haven morphed into a nightmare, an arena of terror where survival became the only instinct. Fear gripped the hearts of those trapped inside as they realized the truth. The bell's curse now bound them to their fate. Escape was a distant dream as shadows closed in around them, and the hunt had only just begun. Max arrived at the school just as darkness enveloped the grounds. The air was thick with tension, and the faint echoes of the bell still vibrated in his ears. He stepped inside, his senses heightened as he took in the dimly lit hallways. Shadows danced along the walls, and each creak of the floorboards beneath his feet felt like a warning. He could sense a malevolence lurking, a palpable energy that clawed at his resolve. His tools were simple, yet effective. A silver crucifix hung from his neck, a symbol of his faith and protection. In his left hand, he carried a small vial of holy water, glistening under the flickering lights. In his right hand, an ancient book of rituals, filled with incantations and protective spells, was clutched tightly. These were his weapons against the darkness, his last line of defense. He had faced countless supernatural threats, but something about this place felt different, more insidious. As he moved through the corridors, he began to piece together the school's dark history. Old portraits lined the walls, their eyes following him with an unsettling gaze. The whispers of ancient witches and their dark familiars echoed through his mind, a reminder of the rituals that had once taken place on these grounds. He could almost hear their voices, chanting in harmony, calling forth the darkness that now threatened to consume everything. In a nearby classroom, he found a group of students huddled together, their faces pale and eyes wide with terror. They shared their experiences of the night, recounting sightings of shadowy figures and the feeling of being watched. One student spoke of a cold hand brushing against her arm, while another described a chilling laughter that echoed through the hallways. Max could see the fear etched in their expressions. They were trapped, and the bell's curse had ensnared them in a web of horror. Suddenly, the lights flickered, plunging the school into darkness for a brief moment. A collective gasp filled the air as the students clutched each other tighter. Max's heart raced, and he knew that with each unexplained event, the tension escalated. He felt the weight of the situation pressing down on him. The creatures were growing bolder, and time was slipping away. He needed to act quickly. As the nights passed, the danger within the school escalated with each toll of the bell. Max felt the oppressive weight of the darkness enveloping him, the air thick with dread. The creatures that emerged were not just figments of imagination. They were grotesque entities born of ancient rituals, each more terrifying than the last. One night, he encountered a wretched specter with hollow eyes and twisted limbs, its wails echoing through the corridors. It lunged at him, its icy fingers brushing against his skin, leaving behind a trail of despair that clung to him like a shroud. With every encounter, Max's resolve was tested. He fought back with his sacred tools, the holy water sizzling upon contact with the creature's skin, causing it to recoil with a shriek that resonated through the halls. Each small victory felt fleeting as new monsters emerged from the shadows, relentless and hungry. A horde of shadowy figures flitted through the darkness, their laughter a chilling reminder of the ancient witches that once roamed these very grounds. Max could almost hear their whispers urging him to give in to despair, yet he pressed on, driven by a determination to protect the innocent. The psychological toll weighed heavily on both Max and the trapped students. Fear morphed into paranoia as they began to suspect one another, their minds unraveling under the strain. Students would wake in the night, screaming from visions of the demonic, unable to distinguish dream from reality. Max witnessed the growing dread in their eyes, the way they flinched at every sound, every flicker of light. He knew he had to act quickly to stave off the encroaching madness. As he delved deeper into the school's dark history, he unearthed the connection between the ancient witches and the malevolent forces at play. The witches had forged pacts with demons, binding their spirits to the land. Each toll of the bell was a reminder of their lingering power, a call to the darkness that threatened to consume all. Max understood that he was not merely fighting for survival. He was engaged in a battle for the very soul of the school, a place steeped in blood and betrayal. With every toll, he felt the urgency grow. The portal was widening, and time was running out. As the nights wore on, Max found himself drawn deeper into the mysteries surrounding the bell and the ancient rituals that had birthed the darkness now threatening the school. Each day brought new revelations, uncovering the tragic history of the land. He stumbled upon remnants of ancient texts hidden within the library's dust-laden shelves. The brittle pages spoke of an insatiable hunger for power that had once consumed the witches, leading them to summon demons in exchange for eternal life. The bell, it seemed, was their most potent artifact, a conduit to the spirit world designed to unleash chaos upon the living. With every discovery, Max felt the weight of impending doom. The bell's tolling was not merely a signal, it was a ritualistic beckoning, drawing forth the spirits with each chime. The portal's strength grew more formidable, pulsating with a dark energy that seeped into the very fabric of the school. Shadows lengthened, and the air thickened with a sense of dread, foretelling the night when the portal would open permanently. He could almost feel the creatures clawing at the fabric of reality, eager to escape their confines. One particularly harrowing encounter left him shaken to his core. As he ventured into the depths of the school, he faced an imposing demon, its form a twisted amalgamation of rage and despair. It hissed his name, a cacophony of voices echoing around him, each one steeped in malice. Max fought valiantly, but the creature's strength was staggering, its claws tearing through the air just inches from his face. He managed to repel it with a burst of holy water, but the victory felt hollow. The demon recoiled, only to retreat into the shadows, its laughter lingering like a taunt. Inside the school, conditions deteriorated rapidly. Students whispered of nightmares that bled into reality, their sanity fraying as they battled unseen foes. They barricaded themselves in classrooms, their eyes wide with terror, the atmosphere thick with despair. Max witnessed the transformation of once vibrant youths into hollow shells, their spirits crushed under the weight of the malevolent presence that now ruled their lives. Each night, the toll of the bell grew more insistent, a reminder that time was slipping away and the darkness was closing in. Desperation hung in the air like a fog, suffocating any flicker of hope. As he pressed on, Max understood that he was racing against an unseen clock, the bell tolling with sinister intent. The school, with its haunted past and present horrors, was more than just a battleground. It was a battleground for souls, and he was determined to uncover the truth before it was too late. The air crackled with tension as Max stood in the heart of the school, the ominous bell tolling in the distance, each chime sending tremors through his resolve. Shadows writhed around him, coalescing into grotesque shapes that twisted and lunged, hungry for his soul. He gripped his sacred tools tightly, the crucifix warm against his chest, the vial of holy water glistening ominously in his palm. This was it, his final stand against the entity that had unleashed a torrent of horrors upon the world. As the bell tolled once more, the portal widened, a gaping maw pulsating with an unholy light. Max felt the pull of the darkness, beckoning him closer, taunting him with promises of despair. A cacophony of snarls and whispers erupted as the first of the demonic forces surged forth, eyes gleaming with malice. He knew he had no choice but to confront them head-on. "By the power vested in me," he shouted, invoking the ancient incantations he had meticulously studied. The words spilled from his lips, echoing through the hall as he splashed holy water toward the advancing horde. Steam hissed as it met the creatures, their shrieks reverberating through the air, a chilling symphony of pain and fury. But for every demon he repelled, another emerged, an endless tide of malevolence threatening to consume him. Amidst the chaos, Max spotted the source of the evil, a towering figure shrouded in shadows, its form flickering like a candle in the wind. It was the embodiment of the ancient witch's wrath, their vengeance incarnate. With a deep breath, he summoned the last of his strength. He grasped the ancient book tightly, its pages whispering secrets of protection and exorcism. "Back to the abyss," he roared, thrusting the book forward as he chanted a powerful incantation. The air vibrated with energy, and a blinding light erupted from the pages, illuminating the darkness. The demonic figure recoiled, its form distorting under the radiant power, but the portal continued to pulse, threatening to unleash more horrors. Max felt a surge of desperation. He had to close the portal before it was too late. Summoning every ounce of energy, he combined his sacred tools, creating a barrier of light around him. The demons writhed against it, their shrieks reaching a fever pitch, a cacophony of despair that tested his resolve. He could see the students peering from behind doors, their faces pale and terrified, hope flickering like a dying flame. With the final toll of the bell, Max unleashed the full force of the ritual. Light erupted from the crucifix, cascading through the hallways, pushing back the shadows. The portal shuddered, a violent tremor echoing through the school as the demonic figure wailed, its form splintering under the onslaught. He had to hold on just a moment longer. In that split second, as chaos reigned around him, Max felt the weight of the world pressing down. The portal began to close, the dark forces shrieking in rage. But he was not alone. The collective will of the trapped students surged through him, a fragile thread of hope binding them all together. With one final incantation, he thrust his hands forward, channeling their combined fear into a radiant burst of light that engulfed the school. The air crackled, the darkness recoiled, and with a final deafening roar, the portal imploded, dragging the shadows back into the void. Silence fell, thick and heavy, as the last remnants of the demonic forces were banished. Max collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath, the weight of despair lifting as dawn's first light broke through the windows. The school, once a battleground of horrors, was finally free. As the dawn broke over the cursed school, a fragile sense of relief washed over the survivors. The silence was deafening, the echoes of the nightmare fading into memory. Max, weary and battered, surveyed the aftermath of his final confrontation. The hallways, once filled with shadows and screams, now lay still, illuminated by the gentle light filtering through the windows. Yet, beneath the surface of this newfound tranquility lingered an unsettling tension, a hint of the darkness that had been vanquished but not forgotten. The students emerged from their hiding places, eyes wide with disbelief and exhaustion. They huddled together, sharing whispered reassurances as they processed the horrors they had endured. The school, though liberated from the immediate threat of demonic forces, bore the scars of its dark history. Walls marked with claw marks and remnants of the battle stood as a testament to the nightmarish ordeal they had survived. Max felt a heavy weight in his chest as he looked at their haunted faces. The psychological toll of the experience would linger long after the physical danger had passed. Nightmares would plague their sleep, shadows would dance at the corners of their vision, and the toll of the bell would echo in their minds even in the quietest moments. They were forever changed, bound by the shared trauma of their harrowing ordeal. As the survivors began to piece their lives back together, an undercurrent of unease simmered beneath their attempts at normalcy. Whispers of the ancient witches still lingered in the air, their laughter echoing in the recesses of memory. Max, too, felt the chilling realization that the battle might have been won, but the war was far from over. The portal had closed, but the knowledge of what lay beyond remained, a dark whisper beckoning in the back of his mind. Days turned into weeks, and while the school resumed its activities, the shadows of the past continued to loom. Max remained vigilant, aware that the fragile barrier between worlds could be breached once more. The final toll of the bell had marked a new beginning, but also a lingering dread, a reminder that evil, once summoned, could always return. The survivors, carrying the weight of their experience, understood that they were now the guardians of a secret too dark to share, forever altered by the horrors they had witnessed. The world outside continued, blissfully unaware of the darkness that lurked just beyond the veil, waiting for the right moment to emerge again. As the sun dipped below the horizon once more, a chill crept through the school, unsettling in its familiarity. The air thickened with an unspoken dread, a reminder of the horrors that had unfolded within these walls. Max stood at the entrance, his heart heavy with the weight of what had transpired. The students had returned to their routines, laughter resonating through the hallways, yet beneath the surface lay a pervasive unease. The bell, silent for now, loomed overhead like a specter of the past. Max knew better than to believe that the danger had vanished entirely. The remnants of ancient curses still clung to the very fabric of the school. He had fought valiantly, but the darkness he had faced was cunning, capable of lying in wait, biding its time until it could strike again. Each passing day felt like a countdown, a ticking clock echoing in the back of his mind, reminding him of the thin veil separating the worlds. In the weeks that followed, Max remained a watchful guardian. He forged connections with the students, offering them solace and guidance as they navigated the aftermath of their terrifying ordeal. Yet, he could see the shadows lurking in their eyes, the flicker of fear that marred their smiles. Nightmares haunted their sleep, and whispers circulated among them, tales of the bell that could awaken once more, a harbinger of doom lying in wait. One fateful night, as Max patrolled the dimly lit hallways, he felt a disturbance in the air, a chill that sent shivers down his spine. The silence was oppressive, pregnant with potential. He stopped, listening intently as a faint echo resonated in the distance, a sound he had hoped never to hear again. The bell tolled once, its resonance reverberating through the corridors like a sinister heartbeat, awakening memories of terror. Max's breath caught in his throat as he realized the truth: the darkness had not been vanquished. It had merely retreated. The school, once a sanctuary, now felt like a ticking time bomb, a place where the evil could rise again at any moment. He knew he had to prepare, to gather his strength and knowledge, for the battle was far from over. As he stood at the threshold, a chilling thought crossed his mind. What if the darkness spread beyond the confines of the school? What if it found new hosts, new places to take root? The world outside was blissfully unaware, but Max felt the tremors of impending chaos tightening around him. The lingering darkness had woven itself into the very essence of the school, and with it came the knowledge that true horror was never truly extinguished. It merely waited, patient and hungry, for the right moment to return.